Hi, Jenna. How you doing? I've got your work up. I've got actually what I have here is I've got this, and this. And let me separate these. I think I want to separate these so we can look at all three at the same time. So, hey, guess what? Here's the thing. I've been looking at these for a while. I've really been studying your work for a minute here, and I got some really good comments. I think that are really going to help take this thing to where it needs to be. Let me explain. So we have our three images. I think it's really easy to see that the one thing that is missing from here is just this. The expression in her eyes is just priceless. Her eyes smile like the whole room lights up when she smiles. We've all seen that for the last several weeks in the Olympics. So just a fantastic personality, and that personality is exemplified through these facial expressions. Therefore, I think it's really important that we have to nail these facial expressions in order to achieve success in the typographic portrait. How do we do that? Well, I think the first thing we have to do is take a look at this transition from here to here. And we can see that we've got some really good artifact here. Some really good stuff. I think that this is not simplified enough. And I remember mentioning that when you turn this in, that this really, really, really needs to be simplified. Let me give you a quick example. And it was back from week 1. And you see how these shapes have just been simplified to the point where they're just really basic shapes. They didn't come out of the box like that. They came out of the box all jaggedy like that. And this designer just went in and straightened them out, fixed them, giving it that much easier for the designer to place type in the appropriate areas. So that's the first thing. I think that really needed to be cleaned up. Now, let's move to the portrait. I want to show you something. Okay, here's what I want to do. I'm going to pull that out so we can get to this. And I want you to see that this clearly looks like her. Clearly. I think that there's a couple of things that we can see when we look at this and we look at this. At this zoom, okay? A couple of things we can see that are missing. Number one, there's this lump on the face over here that just is destroying her. It's not natural. I don't know, where did that come from? I see where it came from. It came from an artifact. It's not there in the original image. It's just a smooth transition. And you can hear it kind of juts out a little bit. Looks like she has the mumps. And I think that's widening her face to the point of not like impeding to recognize the recognition factor. And I think the same thing over here, where this is a little bit wide. So in other words, I think our face is too wide across the mouth. Okay, the nose is gone. There's no nose. There's no nose there. What happened? There's no nose. And the main thing is these things right here, these cheek lines. Those we really, really have to emphasize, because that, again, is just a super distinct defining characteristic of her facial expressions. Okay, where do we go from here? It's easy. As we can see, and I can get rid of that and just take a look at this now. Now, as we can see, there are things that are black and there are things that are not. The eyes are black. Well, I think the eyes are too simplified here because we don't get these wonderful pupils that we have in the original image. So, but nonetheless, that is black. The hair, areas of the hair are black. Areas of the shadow under the neck are black. These dimple areas, black. Parts of the mouth, black. Parts of the eyes, definitely black. Okay, so we're not seeing that here. There's no range, there's no tonal range here. This is all, I mean, I know there is. I know there's a difference between that type color and that type color. The problem is that it's so subtle that you can't see it. Therefore, this is completely flat, leaving us with absolutely no depth whatsoever. I think somebody mentioned density, and you can pack density to create a darker area. So it's really up to you. You can do really one of two things. You can either lighten up the mid-tone areas, or darken the very dark areas, which these look like pure black already. So that might The only other thing that you can do there is work with your density to increase the depth and the darkness, the dark tones of that part of the image. Eyes are critical. Okay, so really what you're doing is awesome. You've got some beautiful contours going. I just think you really need to sit down and finish this thing out. Really concentrate on these tonal differences. Okay, now, yeah, sure, the nose is a highlight, absolutely, but this nose is just gone. The cheeks are a highlight, sure, but they're not here. See what I'm saying? Same thing with the mouth, so to speak. Okay, so that's what I have. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a contact, give me a holler, and maybe I can try to clarify a little further. But I think this is pretty clear. So you're well on your way to an outstanding piece. Oh, one more thing I recommend the jacket, and at least this is going to give a lot of meaning, that just that around the neck. So in other words, I'd say crop to about here. Wait, we have a top of her head here, so about to there. If you can, what that's going to do is we can see that the collar for the sweatsuit, and we can see the metal. So that's just going to really the ribbon, the ribbon for the metal. So what that's going to do is just going to reinforce some common knowledge about this particular individual, and it's going to help reinforce and solidify the recognition factor. Okay? All right, good job. Thanks very much.